Hello everyone. This is Brian with Zimco Survival and I'm back. I'm sorry it took me so long to get a video out. Unfortunately, I've been out of town and it was short notice, so I did not actually have time to do any pre-made videos to put up for you guys. So I apologize for that. Now, this particular video, this review is going to be of the Lixada Gasifier Stove, camp stove. This is going to be a two-part review, because I want to do a detailed burn test on it with you guys, and I don't want to have a 45-minute, 1-hour video up. So instead I'm going to do the review of this first, and then tomorrow I will be putting out the burn test video for this. So remember to hit the like button and subscribe so that you guys can get notified when that video comes out. I love this stove. Now again, this is the Lixada Gasifier Stove. I purchased this on Amazon for about $18. Full disclosure, Lixada is a knockoff brand of the Silverlight stove. The two stoves are identical, except, let me show you, except for one thing. The Lixada has square cutouts, and the Silverlight has flame-shaped cutouts. It's the only difference between the two. Otherwise, both of them are made exactly the same. I have not had any issues with the Lixada as far as burn goes, and as you can see, I've used it. This isn't just an unboxing review. I haven't had any problems with it as far as that goes. I find all the components are nice and tight. Everything sits together properly. I haven't had any issues with the fire smothering. So all in all, I consider this a really good, cheap alternative to the Silverlight because it is identical except for the cutouts. Now, let me go ahead and get into the review for you guys. This particular one comes in 5 pieces. Okay, you have your base plate here. You have your pot holder. You have a pen for holding your solid fuel tablets. I see a lot of people using this as an ash catcher. That's not what it is. This is for solid fuel. So any kind of Esbit tablets, a Colgan's tablet, anything like that goes in here. This isn't an ash catcher. You can use it for that, but that's not what it's meant for. The next part, this right here is part of your combustion chamber, and then this is the actual combustion chamber itself. Now let me go ahead and I'm gonna kind of talk about this with you guys a little bit, give you some of the stats on it, and then we will go to the tabletop and I'll show you guys how to actually put it all together. It's very easy. But basically it's made out of stainless steel. It weighs about a pound. I believe it's like 15 ounces. It weighs a little bit because it is stainless steel, but in my opinion, something like this, the temperatures get so hot that I wouldn't trust aluminum. Titanium would be good, but then again, you're also going to be paying like $80 or $90 for it. So at a pound, I consider it worth carrying with me. Now, I want to dispel a couple of myths about these stoves that I've been seeing a lot of reviews on, reviewers complaining about, and that is the fact that the stove itself, here let me put it together, mine is very tight, which I actually like because it makes sure that things don't move around on me if I don't want them to. There we are. Okay, that's the combustion chamber completely set up. Okay, as you can see, there's quite a bit of room in here as far as space goes. Now, I see a lot of reviews saying that this thing chokes out because of these diamond cutouts down here. I want to correct that misconception. And it's because of how gasifier stoves work that it gives that illusion. When you put the wood inside of this stove and you light it, all these will start to burn after the stove gets up to temperature. A lot like an alcohol stove. What that means is that the heat inside the stove is charring the wood. Okay? It's not really burning it, it's charring it. The gas from that process that's released gets sucked through the bottom here and then up into the inner chamber right here. As it comes out here, the heat from the coals lights the gas. What'll happen is after a few minutes of burning, once all of the wood has turned into coal, those flames go out and everyone says the stove is choked. It's not. The gasification process will only work if fresh wood is being put into it. Because as soon as that wood has been charred, there's no more gases being released, so the flames go out. That doesn't mean it's choked. That doesn't mean that the stove isn't working properly, because it is. I don't add more wood to this after the flames go out. I do if I'm cooking something for a really long time, but the coals in the bottom here will keep cooking and boiling water and everything else. You don't need the flames to do that with. Much like you cook over a campfire, a lot of people have forgotten that this is a wood stove, and the coals at the bottom produce quite a bit of heat. So you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to see flames coming out to make sure that it's working properly. But it's something that bugged me a little bit. Everybody's saying that these stoves choke and everything else, and drilling big holes in the bottom to try to fix that, to let ashes through. That's not the way these stoves function. These stoves function by literally charring the wood that you put in here and burning the gases that are released. Once all the wood is turned into essentially wood charcoal, it burns just like charcoal does. It will glow and produce heat until it's turned into ash. The only reason to put more wood into it is if you want to keep the heat going longer. And I'll demonstrate this in my second video. I'll show you guys exactly what I mean, because if you take new wood after those flames have gone out and you put it in there, within 30 seconds to a minute, all those jets will light back up again until that wood has been turned into charcoal, and then they'll go out. It's just the way these stoves work. So I wanted to dispel that little myth kind of right off the bat. It's something that I find a lot of people talk about these, and they'll knock these stoves and they'll say they're really bad because they choke. That's not the case. They're doing exactly what they're meant to do. So I want to assure you of that. If you buy one of these stoves and the flames go out, don't freak out. It's doing what it's supposed to do. As soon as you add more wood, the flames will come right back again. You don't have to sit there and poke around at it and try to knock the ashes out, because all that's going to do is mess up the gasification process, and ultimately you'll end up knocking a whole bunch of coals through the bottom and reducing the overall heat of the stove. So just leave it the way it is, add a little bit more sticks to it, let it be. Second thing, I see a lot of people saying, I'm going to cut holes in the side of this wall because I want to be able to side feed sticks. Don't do that. You will ruin the stove. Just like with an alcohol stove, if you cut a hole in the side of this, you're going to puncture the inner wall and the outer wall of this chamber, and all the gas is going to be released, and it will no longer work as a gasification stove. All gasification stoves are top fed unless they are specifically designed for side feed. And you'll notice any gasification stove that is side feed always is huge, because they have to do that in order to build a combustion chamber with the side walls still intact and everything else. Camp stoves like this are always top feed because you can't puncture that outer chamber. Otherwise, all the gas gets let out and it's no longer functional. You will have to top feed it, and it takes just a couple of seconds. Just, if you need to add wood, you just take a little handful of twigs that you broke up, take the pot off, drop them in, put the top back on. It takes just a few seconds. You're not going to lose a whole bunch of burn time. You're not going to mess up your cooking or anything else. So in my opinion, stop being lazy and just do what the stove is designed to do, rather than trying to alter it to do what you want it to do. If you want a side feed stove, get a side feed stove. If you want a gasification stove, get a gasification stove. So there we go. We have that out of the way now. We're going to move on. This particular stove I find burns extremely efficiently. I did not have any stick remnants left when I let it do a complete burn down. It all turned into extremely fine ash. I didn't have to really clean anything out, just dumped the ash out and I was set. Boil time on this was about 4 or 5 minutes, so it wasn't that long. Once I got it up to temperature, it burned pretty well. Like I said, 4 or 5 minutes, not outstanding. You can get a jet light that does it in 2, but considering the fact that you have to carry around all the fuel and everything for a jet light and the weight starts to add up, being able to burn any burnable material in this, wood, pine cones, leaves, pine straw, whatever you can find, you can put in here and be able to cook with it without having to worry about building a big fire, putting a grate over it, or finding a way to balance your pot or a tripod, anything like that. I just find this to be really convenient. I can go out in the woods with it, and anytime I want to start a fire, I have this here. Pick up a few pine cones, twigs, leaves, whatever. You drop it in, light it, and you're fine. One of the complaints that I saw a lot, and it is an issue. This particular issue with these stoves is legitimate, and that is when you open these little arms out like this. Okay, these little arms create a pretty wide base, which is great for large pots. I love it with my 10-piece cooking kit. But if you have like a small Stanley Adventure kit, you know, just a 20-ounce Adventure kit, it will not fit on here with the arms open. And while the stove is not designed to be used with the arms closed, in that you'll notice these particular pegs, they don't have any kind of grip to them or anything. I found that I was able to put my Adventure kit on here pretty easily, and I didn't have to worry about it falling over. It was stable. Even during rolling boils, where you guys know the thing will kind of knock back and forth, never had any risk of falling off. Didn't feel like I needed to sit there and baby it or anything like that. The arms themselves are thin, but they're about the thickness of a jet light arm, maybe just a teeny bit thicker actually. So I've seen people complain that these were too thin, they felt like they were going to bend. I don't feel that way. I think if you're using it like you should use it, like a stove where you just put the pot on it, you don't have to worry about that. These arms are welded on to the actual stove, so they aren't going to come popping off on you. They aren't glued or anything like that. And they're pretty securely riveted on. I don't have any back and forth wiggle in it, so none of these arms wiggle back and forth. So overall opinion, good quality product. Like I said, it's a clone. They could have made these things in the same factory and just put a different logo on it. But that's a general review of this. Let me go ahead and put it together and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Now when you first take the stove out of its carrying case, and I'll talk about this in just a minute, but as soon as you take the stove out, this is how you're going to have it, okay? It's going to be all packed together exactly like this. First thing you do, you take the stand off. This is just a stand. It allows airflow to get into the inner wall so that the gasification process can work. Once you have that, you're going to take this, you're going to pull this piece off, and you're going to pull out your alcohol plate. Now, if you're not going to use this for alcohol, you can put it under as an ash catch if you want to. I personally just set it off to the side. As you can see, I don't particularly use it. Next, you're going to take your inner wall. This is the combustion chamber. You're going to pop the interior out. Now, like I said, mine is really, really tight, which isn't a problem for me, but it might be a problem for some people. So it sits like this. You drop that in there just like that, right? You're going to take this piece after you've got your fire started. When it's started, don't wait until it's up to temperature, because trust me, it gets hot and you won't be able to get this on. Pop that on just like that. The stove is ready to go. The flame will come up through here. This piece is important. I see a lot of people trying to leave this piece off because they think it works better. This is shaped this way for a reason. It allows the smoke to come up through here and be pulled back down through the center. So it makes the gasification process a lot more efficient. Less smoke being produced, overall better, a better burn. So you want to make sure you're using this. Once you have that done, you're set up. You're ready to go. The other orientation that you can put this up in is if you're using it for alcohol. And I'll show you guys how to do that. If you're going to use it for alcohol, what you're going to do is you're going to once again take this off. You're going to take the internal combustion part out. You're going to set that so that the holes are pointing up. Alright? Then you're going to take this piece and you're going to slide it in backwards. That gives you a base stand. You're going to take that and you're going to put it on your base plate here. Once again, that allows for air to be pulled up into the bottom here. Then you take your alcohol pan or your solid fuel tablet pan, put it there, put this on top like that. Now you can burn solid fuel tablets in here. I personally carry my penny stove in here as well, and when I do that and use it to burn with my penny stove, all I do is I pull this out, turn it back into the standard right here, just like this, except I leave it pushed all the way up to the top. Put that right there. Sorry, did that wrong. I push it so it sits right kind of even with the base of this. And I slide that down in there. I put this up over the top. Like that. There you have it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, wait, I still think I did that wrong. I did do it wrong. Again. Ugh. Never mind. Let me try this one more time. Alright. So we have that put together, so I won't confuse myself again. When I use my alcohol, I just slide the pan kind of in here like this. Nothing too difficult. So it just kind of sits there like that. Put that right there. And then that goes right there. There we are. Now you see the right way to do it. Having one hell of a day today. Alright. So now you've seen both ways to configure it and how I use my alcohol stove in it. Let me talk about this thing for a minute. Normally, I get these and I throw them away because they aren't any good. But this one, I am impressed. This one is very thick. In fact, I would be comfortable using this to scrub my pots with. I think it could withstand that pretty well. And it's hard to describe unless you buy one yourself. But this material is actually thick. It's not thin, it's not flimsy, it's well designed, very well executed. None of the stitching has started falling apart. It's just a really good bag. So I'm actually keeping mine in this bag, and I would recommend that you guys do the same. It's just a fantastic bag. So that's the basics of the review. Overall rating on this, because it is a Silverlight clone. Now there are other styles on the market. I decided to go with this because I like the pot holders more than the other styles. So this would get the same rating for me as a Silverlight. This one would get 9 out of 10. And the only reason I'm not giving it a higher rating is because I would like to see them give something here to make it easier to rest smaller pots on. So change this design here just a little bit, kind of add a ledge here so that people can put pots on here more easily, and it would be a 10 a 10 out of 10 design very easily. Love this stove. For 18 bucks, it far exceeded any of my expectations. I figured, okay, Silverlight clone, Chinese made, is going to be a piece of crap and I'm not going to like it. But I decided to buy it because I want to do a review on it for you guys, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. Spend the 18 bucks. It's a fraction of the price of a Silverlight, and just fall in love with it like I did. But there you have it. That's my review. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, there's part 2 is coming out tomorrow. So if you guys want to see the actual burn tests of all 3 different types of fuels, and probably make myself some breakfast at the same time and show you guys how well it can cook, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, so that you guys can be notified as soon as that video comes out. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please have a great night. Bye-bye.